Hey guys, it's the Infamous here. Before we jump into tonight's episode, I gotta tell you about our sponsor, Audible. Audible gives you access to hundreds of thousands of audiobooks that you can listen to wherever it's convenient for you. Use our link, audibletrial.com/infamous, and not only do you get a free 30-day trial of the service, but you also get a free audiobook compliments of the show. So head to audibletrial.com/infamous, get yourself a book, and get some money back into the show. Enjoy tonight's episode.
Okay, hi. You're listening to Infamous Chronicles. Yeah. Love you, Dad.
All right, and welcome to this week's episode of the Infamous Chronicles. We are going to be tackling today the tragedies that occurred in Las Vegas last night. We are recording this on Monday, October 2nd. The information that we're going to cover is everything that's available now, and this is the Infamous Chronicles. Here we go.
Turn down for what?
Do you even know what's going on?
This is the Infamous Chronicles.
The Infamous Chronicles.
Featuring the infamous
Aggie Rocks.
Casey Moran,
The Jester.
Natalie Sky,
Chevy.
Junkie,
And Gina.
Wait, what are we doing?
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
the Infamous Chronicles starts right now.
All right, and welcome to tonight's unfortunate episode. We had scheduled a topic that we will bring to you at a later date, but tonight there is important matters occurring in our country that we just could not record an episode tonight and not cover. Typically, we are not a news-related show, but this is going to be, we're going to speak exclusively from an emotional human side of the event and leave politics out of it. So joining me tonight to cover this is Augie Rocks.
How you guys doing?
And Miss Natalie Sky.
Yo.
So, as I'm sure you are all aware of at this point, last night we experienced the worst mass shooting in the history of our country, in Las Vegas, Nevada, during a country music festival. A 65-year-old white male decided to rent the corner suite on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Casino in Las Vegas on September 28th and waited until last night, October 1st. Late in the evening to open fire from that corner suite into a country music festival that it was occurring across the street. And for those of you not familiar with the Las Vegas area, it's about a quarter of a mile distance from the casino. All the casinos have large entertainment activities out front, and then there's a large 4 or 6 lane road, and then the venue that the country was held at, or the festival was held at. It was an open air festival, stage, vendors, and unfortunately a lot of open space filled with a lot of excited fans. So tonight, let's start with, here we are in October, another mass shooting in our country. At this point, how do we move forward without getting numb to this kind of news and just getting into the mentality of, oh, it's another mass shooting?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you ever can get used to it, really. I mean, if you're human, I hope you feel something. There's got to be something wrong if you're not.
Yeah.
I know it rocked me. I didn't have anyone, luckily, or thankfully, all of my friends and family members were not there, and those that were safe. But regardless, I mean, your heart goes out to all those people. That's just devastating.
Absolutely. Augie, how do you feel?
It's quite unfortunate that one person's bad decision is going to bring so much negativity upon concerts and other people's entertainment and enjoyment in Las Vegas, among other cities now. Mm-hmm. It's one person's bad decision that ruins the whole party for everybody.
Right.
Unfortunately now, my godmother's cousin-in-law is in critical condition. He was shot at the festival. Mm-hmm. Our friend from the show was shot in the arm as well as the shoulder. And there was 14 fatalities, right?
There's 54 reported fatalities right now, and roughly just over 500 wounded.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm not.
Your number was from Southern California.
Yeah.
Correct. So
I woke up. I went to a concert in San Diego all weekend, and I got home at 5 a.m. and I slept till about 2 p.m. Woke up to a text message from a good buddy of mine who lives in Florida saying, "I know you go to Vegas a lot. I hope you're okay." I had no idea what was going on.
Of course.
And then as the day continued, then I heard a little bit more of this and that.
Right.
So right before I came here, I saw on my godmother's Facebook saying, please pray for her cousin-in-law that got shot.
Yeah.
Who's in critical condition now.
Jeez. I'm sorry.
So one person who decides to be stupid with guns and make bad decisions and probably was an asshole in life decides to fuck everything up for everybody else.
The scary thing about this particular guy, I mean, the details obviously will be emerging for quite some time here, but we have a late-aged gentleman who, from my understanding, was very well off financially, had no children, no prior weapons training, no military experience, no police experience, and had zero criminal record whatsoever. The conversation has always been, the scapegoat has always been, oh, it's mental health. Mental health is the problem. Well, obviously one example isn't all examples, but there is now an example that exists who created the largest shooting in our country's history, who has no mental health issues that have ever been recorded so far, as we know.
But was it the largest shooting in, what about Waco? How many people was that in Texas?
Well, the largest was the club in Florida last year, at the gay club, the shooting. And then this as the numbers are continuing to roll in, it unfortunately is.
There's still people missing, unfortunately.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned, so we have a friend of ours who has actually been a guest on this show a couple of times, and unfortunately, I don't remember the code name that he used, and I don't want to use his actual name. So for the sake of the conversation, let's just call him Vet Guest. He was a 2-tour Iraq combat veteran. And spoke in the past about on some of our military episodes. They were in Las Vegas for a engagement, and unfortunately, he did take 2 rounds, and then they were with a cousin that took a round to the foot. It's
at least all the rounds that they got hit with were like non-lethal. Like even though it sucks to be shot twice,
yes, it could.
At least he didn't get shot. I mean, a couple inches more would have been his chest,
right,
or his head, or his throat.
And both bullets went clean through from the information I've gathered on him. So the best case scenario in his instance is what happened.
I wonder if his cousin that got shot in the foot, if it just like ricocheted or it just like went into the concrete.
I don't know, because I know that the majority of the injuries that are being reported are trample injuries. They're not even, I mean, obviously there's gunshot wound victims all over the place, but of the 500, the majority are injuries for people trying to escape for their lives.
Yeah.
Because you get into a mode in your head where you're just like,
get the
Fight
fuck
or
out,
flight.
gone.
Yeah. There were like reports of people just letting people jump on the hoods of their cars and driving them off the strip, and then they were coming back to get more people.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. I know Uber's in a lot of trouble because, unfortunately, I'm going to believe them on this. Their systems are set up for surge pricing when there's a high demand, and apparently the Uber pricing during with people trying to get out of there was surge pricing.
Oh, of course, but that's how Uber's set up to work.
Right. They apologized publicly immediately, and then
Uber has no concept, no way to learn. Hey, there's a shooting in this area. We need to get these people out of here.
But I do know a lot of Uber drivers though were just pulling off the clock and driving down the strip and trying to grab people. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
Another really scary part of this is that the last episode we just did was recapping the iHeartRadio Festival, which was a week ago yesterday, and the podcast crew, we were all there in this exact spot that the shooting occurred at a week ago, and PSAC really wanted to bring a weapon, and we all hazed him like, you don't need a weapon in Vegas, you're being paranoid. And he was adamant, like, look, it's a large gathering, we need to be armed to be protected. And here I am eating my words a week later. It's just
you guys are pretty lucky, because that guy could have done it a week earlier.
Yeah, because he literally got there 2 days after we left.
That's crazy. It's really unfortunate, and I think, especially at this time in America, we really need to pull together as Americans, no matter what your belief is on the government or certain songs or certain people you idolize in sports or whatever. We need to really pull together as people, as a country, and stop focusing so much on the bullshit and the shit that's just blinding you. You know what I mean? I truly believe that. And this is a great time to express it because of everything that's going on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We need to not let this shooting weaken us, but strengthen us.
Very well said, sir.
Yeah.
Very well said. So I know that, we've experienced several mass shootings. Do you got the school shootings, the public shootings, and now we've got a festival shooting. Are we going to get to the point where we've got to shootings at, the Super Bowl or the American Mall, where it's just going to keep escalating and escalating? Or do you think we're going to hit a point where like enough is enough?
I think we're going to hit a point where people are arming themselves regardless of what the government say, and then just handling stuff more in their own hands, because obviously the terms set in place to handle those things aren't working.
But regardless of that, no one could have even done anything last night.
That's true, but it's like, how did this guy get so many weapons inside of this hotel?
That's where the change needs to happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious
about. That's
of.
the disconnect.
Yeah, that the guy acquired, let's see, they said they found 16 in the room and 10 more at his house, so nobody noticed a guy acquiring 26 automatic weapons. It's like,
yeah.
And we're not here to discuss gun rights. That's not what we're, none of us are judging anybody that want to protect their
no, but I just don't
rights.
think anybody,
should it be able to acquire 26 freaking weapons?
No.
Yeah.
And automatic, what do you need that for?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, too.
Unless you're in the military, you really don't have a use for it.
Right. Well, you don't have a use for an automatic weapon at all.
Yeah.
But yes, agree.
But here's the thing.
26 weapons is...
You get a rifle, and there's a small little part. If you know how to weld, you can weld this part on very easily. And then the weapon, normal weapon you had becomes an automatic.
Correct. You are right.
Yeah, so it's like if you know where to buy the part and you know how to solder or weld, you can just make your weapons into automatic weapons.
But assuming, because I don't know whether this is a factual statement or not, but for the sake of the conversation, assuming all 26 of the weapons that have been announced that they've discovered were registered and purchased legally, how are we at a point where somebody can purchase 26 weapons of any kind and it not raise some kind of, how is there not an automatic notifications that were like, if a person buys more than 5, that there's a little boop that's sent to someone's desk somewhere and they're like, oh, 5, okay, I gotta watch Augie Rocks. He's got 5 already. Next one that comes in, you get an inquiry and you have to justify why you need another weapon. Something like that. And,
because that's never been put in place in our country. Because there's some people that have 100 guns, you know what I mean? 1,000 guns.
But do you believe, so there's people that argue they have the right to do that based on the Constitution, right?
Correct.
But do you really think that when the Constitution was written, it was written for people to own 26 guns, or it was written
it was written
for
because
people
the
to protect themselves from their government?
It was written for people to have rights and protect themselves.
Right.
Because in the time in which it was written, they didn't have these types of situations.
Nor did they have automatic weapons.
Yeah, or the ability to buy 100 guns, even if they were the richest of men, you know what I mean?
Right. That just, and ammo.
Yeah.
It was completely, but it's the same argument, we constantly, we're going to sound like a bunch of right wing or left wing anti-constitutionalists here. We're not. Remember, our show is designed to stimulate conversation. That's all we're here to do. But to stimulate the conversation, we're constantly leaning on our constitutional rights without, it's kind of like the Bible. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Bible, but the people are either taking it literal word for word, or they're like, it's more of a suggestion, right? And then they're doing the same black and white thinking with the Constitution. It's like, you could take it literally or as a suggestion, and either way, it wasn't written the way we've interpreted it now.
Well, yeah, because it was written hundreds of years ago.
Exactly. It says in the Bible that people have the right to own slaves and stone women.
Yeah.
Is that to be taken literally because it's written down?
No, but the Bible was also written by humans, not Jesus or God.
Exactly.
I agree, but so was the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
which also said you could on slaves and stone women.
It did. It said women couldn't vote. It said all kinds of things.
Yeah. So
we've made amendments to that without people having these fucking psychological social media seizures that they're having now. So, and I'm not saying that I have an answer for the quote unquote gun situation, that none of the three of us do. But the point is, why is that conversation any more hot topic than First Amendment rights, Fifth Amendment rights, women's rights? Like, why does it have to be always the First and Second Amendments that are like the hot button for everyone? And why do they have to be taken so gluttonously? Like,
because it's the wool they pull over your eyes so they can do this, that, and the other. And we end up at a place we're at now.
I agree. And so, in your opinion, then, where do you stand? Like, is the Constitution a literal document, or is it more a fluid document?
No, it's literally a literal document, but it is, in this term, outdated to where we are now as human beings.
How do you feel, Natalie?
I agree.
Yeah.
Times have changed. You've got to move with the times. You know, we're following the rules from something written hundreds of years ago.
But at the same time, I wouldn't want Congress or almost anybody else in any office right now
to write a new
Congress or a new Constitution, because they're not thinking with a human aspect. They think of more of a a corporation aspect.
Even with I'm just saying, even with the way our electoral college, like that whole system works, like that wasn't made,
to be the way it is now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's a joke.
Right.
It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, you could take a completely bipartisan approach and still confidently say that sentence without being one way or the other. And it's, I don't know. When it comes to, we had a lot of it's been a tragic week. We lost Hugh Hefner. There was the shooting in Oregon, the shooting in Las Vegas. There was a false shooting in USC today. Then Tom Petty died. But
how was there a false shooting?
Somebody called in shots fired at University of Southern California in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's fucked.
And there was nothing. So they evacuated the whole school for nothing. Not that I'm not saying, great job on the LAPD for going and handling that. They did everything they did right. But here we are, a real fucking tragedy is occurring, and you're wasting resources on a prank call.
Yep.
They I hope they found that person, because we can trace phone calls and shit. Yeah. So.
And by the way, as of this recording at 7:21 Pacific Standard Time on October 2nd, Tom Petty is not dead. So that was a premature reporting by the LAPD that he was dead. He is in a vegetative state, but he is not.
So he's almost dead, unfortunately.
Pretty much.
He's dead in the sense of being alive, but he's not dead in the sense where you can report his time of death yet.
Yeah.
So, they have to pull him off.
He just had, someone was saying, and I know it was on the radio, that he just had a concert a week or two ago.
Yeah.
What happened from...
Look at Chester. I mean, Chester Bennington was supposed to be picked up for an interview that day for their new tour.
Yeah, but he killed himself. That's different.
I think he had a heart attack. Different.
Tom Petty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something cardiac related. So we've got, it's safe to say, no matter what side of the coin you're on, we're in dark times. That's not counting Puerto Rico, North Korea, the seismic activity along the coast in California and Mexico. We haven't even scratched that.
Everything.
It's you can't help but get to the point, even the most optimistic person has to get to a point somewhere in their head where they're like, what could possibly be next?
Change.
Well, let's hope so.
Other times.
Let's hope.
And not living in fear. I mean, I know these people are doing that, and it's terrifying, and that's a whole nother episode of, working through that. But, we can't let that one person control us, and that's a living in fear thing, For you personally, when you heard about this, did you feel more of a sense of relief or worry when you discovered that this was not terrorist related? I think the way I felt was the same. I don't think anything changed. Okay. What's done was done.
What about you, Ari? Did you have a feeling one way or the other?
No, just it's unfortunate that someone's bad mistakes is going to reflect on all of us now because of how Vegas is going to change a little bit, especially with the football stadium coming in. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of cracking down on weaponry and probably searching people going into hotels now. this, that, and the other, which is going to suck for the people that just want to go and have a good time and, have their fun.
But back to your point, you mentioned it earlier, in a very, very literal sense, how do you physically carry 16 weapons from the first floor of a casino to the 32nd floor?
Yeah, like did he have like a lot of suitcases?
You take
like big ass suitcases?
Take them all apart, put them in.
Maybe that's why he was there for 4 days.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. I didn't even think about that. Good job. That's probably what happened.
Detective Sky, the nail in the case.
Thank you.
And he had tripods set up, but there's also like, obviously this theories start rolling. Everyone's got their idea. And some of the theories are, it was because it was a country festival, which meant it was Trump supporters. One of the theories was...
That's not true.
I know. I know. The next theory was the shots were fired too close from 2 different windows, so there were 2 shooters. And then you've got the fact that his chick is just literally, just conveniently halfway around the world in a non-extraditable country. Like,
that guy's girlfriend?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's just in China.
Japan.
Just somewhere in Asia.
Okay, but when did she get there?
I am not her travel agent, so I cannot speak.
But that's the thing. If she's already, it takes
but the bottom line is she's there.
It takes like 24 to 36 hours to get to China from America.
No, it takes like 18 hours.
But still.
Okay.
By the time...
So she was fully out of the country for the entire part of his plan.
Okay.
So she probably boned when he drove down. I mean, boned out, not boned.
Yeah, left the country. She left the country. She didn't bone anybody.
I've never heard that.
As far as our knowledge, yeah. So, maybe he had this plan and she said, "You're crazy, I'm fucking out of here."
Hopefully. For her sake, I hope so. And if she had anything to do with it, the fucking SEALs are going to get you.
Maybe, maybe she had him under my control. Maybe she hypnotized him.
Stranger things have happened, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's possible people are out there that are hypnotists.
That's what just bothers me is like, what? Why? What was his motive? Like, what are they going to find? If there's no, I mean, I feel like there has to be some type of mental illness to drive somebody to do that because you are not in a normal state of mind if you're going to just think it's cool to go
possessed.
Well, it's funny because they look backwards on his, if he was ever sued and he wasn't, because they were trying to match somebody that was in attendance with somebody that aggrieved him at some point. Like maybe he had Augie Rocks as the target, but he was just I'm going out anyway. Mm-hmm. So they went through if somebody fucked him in the lottery, if somebody fired him from a job, they went through everything. And they all the police officers, rightly so, are double frustrated because there's nothing on this guy. It's like
the Joker from Batman. Some people don't care about money. They just want to cause havoc.
Oh, 65 years on this planet, and he's never indicated that.
Because 65 on this planet, and no one's ever known his name.
It's true.
You know what I mean? It could be something as simple as that. He wanted to be a part of history.
Or he was possessed, like Augie said.
I'm not doubting.
Yeah, I mean, either way, we'll never know because he's dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll never know the truth. But, I mean, it's possible.
Now, so you have the instance of this gentleman, right? Killed himself. We'll never get to know. On the other side of the coin, you go back to Boston. You have the incidents where they actually did capture one of those boys, and his story was fucking useless to the families. What do you think is more devastating? To get that just no gosh dang good reason whatsoever, or to always wonder what the reason is?
I think either way, you just kind of gotta just kind of forgive the situation, not really the person, and go without fear into the rest of your life.
Sorry that our system just beeped at you guys. Sorry about that. Natalie, what were you going to say?
It doesn't. I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I mean, you could ponder all you want about that situation or an ex-significant other or someone you lost in your life, but you'll never know. You know what I mean? So the best thing you can do... But
that's my question is, would you rather know and the reason be shitty, or would you rather not know if you were the loved one of a victim?
I think it'd be better to know. You know what I mean? Then you have a little...
You're like, oh, he's just a fucking crackerjack.
Yeah. But at the same time, not knowing, it's what... I mean, you could ponder it for days, months, years, the rest of your life. That's not going to make a difference.
So, Natalie, your prediction, how do you think this is going to shape the landscape just for the rest of this year, let alone moving forward? with gun laws, with the concerts, like Augie said, and with Las Vegas?
I don't know. I don't know how quickly they're going to make things change, because I feel like we've seen a lot of these events happen over the years, and unfortunately not much at all has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see, more security, but then again, that wouldn't have changed anything, the way that he got up there and got in there.
It was almost completely unpreventable.
It really has to go back to gun laws, and even then you can get everything illegally, so...
Yeah, it's kind of lose-lose.
Yeah.
And then it's unfortunate that, like, law-abiding citizens, 22,000 of them yesterday, for example, have to go to these gatherings unarmed, unprotected, and then the other side is like, or is it even a good thing for 22,000? Because the interesting thing about Nevada is it's an open carry state.
Well, here's what I do think needs to change. I think people need to stop being assholes.
Oh, of course.
Like,
all
that
across
needs
the board.
just period. Like, that should be the first thing that changes, because everyone right now that's fighting and pointing fingers and arguing about it, you're not doing anything to help the situation.
But you said something before the show, and it was just like kept bouncing around in my head. I think you were talking to Drew about it, about this the stress level of, or was it you? Somebody and you were talking outside before this about the stress level and how everyone's just so stressed now with all the pressures of life that this is what causes people to go this route. And I think the stress levels aren't going to change. They're only going to continue to get worse and worse and worse.
I think our whole system needs a change, like what we're pushing and expecting of people is just unrealistic, It's about work till you're, everyone's overworked, underpaid, exhausted, accidents are happening,
right.
People are miserable. Like, what? Everyone's life expectancy is shorter because of all this shit. Look at all the disease we have. It's going to take a root change. It's going to be slow, but I mean, we've got to make a shift. And there are a lot of companies that are starting to make that shift, that are offering better hours and time off and compensation for maternity leave and little things, that make a big difference. And just personal time, not making it so much. Everyone's terrified. Like, everyone needs money. We're in a financial crisis in our country, and having to worry about not being able to take care of your family, your house, keep food on the plate.
Right.
That's terrifying. So people put themselves through hell to keep that. And it's not a healthy, little whirlpool people get stuck in.
I agree, actually. I agree. And I heard it's going to come off chauvinistic in the beginning, so hear me out. But I heard an interesting theory that, like, a lot of the stress problems escalated quickly once women started being active in the workplace. And it's not a crack on women, but what happened is that now you have our life is that both parents in a life have to work in order for the majority of the country. Both parents have to work. So then what happens is you're losing control of your parenting, of your kid's life, of your family dynamic. Because, I mean, the average mother or father is only home with their family for 2.6 hours a day.
Exactly. And the average mother and father both have to work to be able to provide for that child.
Yep.
There isn't an option.
Right. So, I mean, maybe we have laws where, like, if it's a double parent situation, one of the parents has to stay home with the kid. And I'm not saying it has to be women. I'm just saying, like, they can collectively make that decision. But it's like, we've created a place where everyone has to work. We all live beyond our means, which is 50% our own fault. I'm not saying that it's not. Our houses are unavailable to us. Good jobs are unavailable to us. We're fighting things like, should minimum wage be $1 more? When it's like, the fact that that people even have to worry about the pressure of supporting a family on a minimum wage income is just terrifying. And so the stress just compounds and compounds. And like you said, Augie, money can mean nothing to someone. They make lots of it, and then they get to the point in their life where they have no more work responsibilities. They have tons of money, and they're like, fuck it, I'm going to buy some guns and peace out. Or bone. Bone out, Natalie.
Bone out.
So, it's not going to be a long episode tonight, guys. We just felt we needed to address this and share our thoughts and prayers and our hearts with everything that we're going through as a country. If you have stories that you would like to share and you just want to express your experience or how you were impacted by this, we will be happy to take your inquiries on any of our social media channels and, plug you right in to make an announcement on the podcast if you want to share your story or your experience. Like Augie and Natalie both said, we're going through this all as a country. We need to unite. So if you have something you need to get off your chest, we are happy to be your sounding board for that. That is no problem. We can plug you into the switchboard anytime.
For anybody, I think anybody out there, not just affected by this. Like if anyone out there just needs something, like we got a platform, and you have people that are pretty good listeners. Yeah,
we want to hear your stories. I mean, this show was made for people to share their stories. That's what it originated back to. So that is going to do it for us this week. I'm sorry you had to join us under these circumstances. And we will be back with you guys next week. Hold your loved ones close. Remember, the things that matter in life can't really be bought with money, and focus on those things. They mean more than the things that you can put a receipt to.
And we're sending our love to everybody from here in Cali.
All right, this has been the Infamous Chronicles. You all have a great night.
If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Infamous Chronicles. Our show is produced by Jeremy Elder, talent acquisition is done by Casey Moran, and operations directed by Paul Sinacori. This show is copywritten Infamous Works, LLC, 2016. All rights are reserved. All of our guests appear signed via waivers. We don't own the rights to any of the music featured on our show. We are just fans of it. Visit us at infamousworks.com or call our offices at 844-4-INFAMOUS.